Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for coming out to the Kinwell Academy Banquet. I really appreciate you taking some time out to hear our story, hear from students. My name is Roger Yantz. I'm the director of Kinwell Academy. So I'll be kind of your host tonight. We'll have some speakers. You'll hear from students. You'll have a chance to interview a student a little bit later this evening. And most importantly, we'll eat some good food, which we're going to do here in a second. Just to kind of make a quick snapshot of who we are and what we do, we partner with public schools, mainly Marion High School, and provide an opportunity for students who are struggling, whether it's discipline, academics, anxiety, teen pregnancy, kind of any number of things, to come to our school, help get an education in a more intimate setting while maintaining their public school status. So our whole school purpose is to partner with public schools and support them wherever they need it. And so what you guys are doing tonight is a huge help to what we do, and we'll explain more of that as we go along tonight. So thank you again for taking some time out to join us. And I'm going to pray for the food, and then we'll dismiss. Father, we thank you so much for your goodness, for your sovereignty. We pray that you continue to guide us as a school, guide us as a community and a nation. Show us deeper ways that we can follow you and spread your love throughout the kingdom. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Yeah, so we started Kinwell Academy in 2017. We met with the public schools and asked if this could be a service to them that they'd like to use. They all said, yeah, this is what we want to do. And so we went forward. We partner with Marion High School primarily, and we use some of the other county schools to help out with their students individually as they need. But right from the get-go, we just knew that we want to do something different, and we want to be a school that could be relational with the students, do some things that they're just not able to do in the public school.
So Kinwell Academy is an alternative high school. So when students are struggling with severe mental health issues, maybe they've been put in some sort of lockup facility, or it's just something about the public school hasn't been working, they get sent here by the public school. And our goal is obviously to get them caught up on credits. A lot of these students are really behind in credits, but also it's for us to be able to put them on a better trajectory for life.
Our teachers' main job is really to connect with students. They're there to help with education, and we'll help them work towards a diploma for sure, but we know that a lot of times for that to happen, there's got to be a connection and a relationship there. And so our students really have grown a lot through their relationship with the teachers. So teachers spend a lot of time, even when the students are being the most misbehaved, that's when our teachers are leaning in the most to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. And so our students have found some comfort in their relationship with their teachers.
I love the students. Like, the students are absolutely amazing. They have so much to offer. Their stories are incredible. It just takes building trust with them to be able to get deep, and I absolutely love them and appreciate them for what they bring and have to offer to Kinwell as well.
I like Kinwell. Being transferred from Marion High School and then coming to Kinwell, it was a big move, and then it was fast, but you get used to everything fast, and it's a lot of one-on-one help with stuff. You're not around 30 kids in one classroom for 40 minutes, and it's not a lot of chaos. It's you can sit there, do your own work at your own pace.
It's just more quieter and more easier for me as I have anxiety and ADHD, all that.
Last year when I was in public school, I was doing really bad. I had all Fs, didn't go to class, and this year I have 6 credits. I come here every day. I like being here. It's just, I don't know, I like here a lot.
We do family time, we have one-on-ones, conversations, and I feel like they give me a lot more knowledge. Yeah, I don't know, they help me a lot.
Yeah, without donations, most of what we do wouldn't be possible. Every dollar is donated goes towards a student experience of some type, mostly trips. We try to do a trip every other Friday. It's everything from going ice skating or going to a zoo to going to Chicago.
And we also take the students to Kentucky for a hiking trip, and it's a time to grow closer and just it's their big experience basically. Also, we go on ODG trips, and that allows students to be rewarded for their credits that they're getting each quarter. And so if they hit their credit, they get to go on this bigger trip where we take them out to a big lunch.
And those are the times where we really build relationships. We give a student a new experience, for sure that they're doing something they've never done before, or seeing something that they've never seen. But more importantly, we're building a relationship with the students where we can really get to know them, share some wisdom that we've got, but also our staff is growing as they get to know the students. We're getting pushed and challenged, and we really feel like we're growing together with the students.
Honestly, these trips are the biggest part of our school. That's what creates such a family environment, is when you go and travel together, whether it's with your family, with your friends, you're just bonded in a new way.
The trips are extremely influential. We also use money for paying for meals for students. We do a lot of staff or school meals. We've provided counseling for students. We do job training programs for students, and all that money is from donors, and so it wouldn't be possible without donor involvement. There's a lot of people to thank that kind of make Kinwell go behind the scenes, and so I want to make sure to acknowledge them. First and foremost is our board. We've had just a fantastic board since 2017 when we started. We've got a lot of members who have been on the board that entire time, a lot who are a big part of helping create Kinwell and put it together, and it's a lot of work behind the scenes. And I'm always impressed by these men and women who are extremely busy, running their own businesses, doing their own thing, and they take time out to invest in young people. And it's all unrecognized, right? They're not on billboards, they're not in interviews, but they're really the engine that makes it go. So they've been extremely influential in my life with wisdom and with guidance and accountability, blessings. They've just been tremendous. So I want to make sure they get recognized. We'll start off with our board president, Mr. Ryan Jones, sitting over here. Mr. Jim Sonnefield, our secretary. Jim Gartland, our treasurer. Terry Monday. Kelly Snyder, Jerry Harshman, our vice president, Vicki Conrad, Tab McKenzie, and Amy Ott. Round of applause for all of them, please. Kinwell also, we really rely on our community to bring in as many experiences that we can for our students. And so there's a lot of people who get involved in Kinwell that we're extremely appreciative of. One thing, we're going to show a little video later on this martial arts program that we started, and this is year 2 of that. And we have Josh and Nana on the back over here who've been working with our students, showing them how to have discipline and defend themselves, and that's been incredible. We've partnered with Indiana Wesleyan Basketball. They come in, they're over here. Jackson, Bright, Luke, and Isaac have come in and work with students. We're extremely appreciative for them. The Urban Research Group is a psychology department in Indiana Wesleyan that comes in and surveys our students and takes their life experiences and turns it into data so we can track first how far they've come along as they've been with Kinwell, but also we can kind of see trends and things that we need to change at the school. So Dr. Keith Puffer and his group have been extremely influential. And lastly, the music therapy department at Indiana Wesleyan. We've partnered with them for 5 years, helping our students. They learn instruments and experience music in a new way. That's also therapeutic for them. So it's kind of like backdooring counseling into their lives. So we're extremely appreciative of all them. And lastly, I want to thank all our sponsors who made tonight possible. Atlas Foundry, Wiley Metal, Indiana Wesleyan, Bar Brothers, Storeway Storage, Edward Jones, Scott and Kelly Snyder, Jim and Janet Gartland, Van Gurley, Chris Kennedy, Jerry and Sherry Harshman, and Culvers. Round of applause for our sponsors, please. Next, I'd like to introduce our board president, Mr. Ryan Jones. He stepped on during COVID, and just cannot thank him enough for the wisdom he's carried for these years since then. And COVID was a hard time for all of us to navigate, and he jumped in very willingly and helped us. And so, Ryan Jones.
Thank you. And first of all, thanks for being here tonight. This is a night we always look forward to. We're thrilled to hear the students here in a little bit. I know there's a lot that demands your time. And so you could be a lot of different places, but you chose to be here with us tonight, so thank you for that. 2 things we want to try to focus on tonight. First, love to celebrate just the success Kinwell has had through local partnerships, through our incredible staff, our amazing students. And then the second thing is we're here to kind of raise some money. And this is a fundraiser for us. So you know, most of our fixed costs are covered through our local partnerships with the schools. But there's a lot of learning that takes place outside the classroom, and that's where our funding gap really falls. And so tonight's some efforts towards helping raise some funds that support that. As Roger mentioned, thank you to all of our event sponsors. It truly means a ton for them to take part in this night with us. Also in some conversations, we've worked out tonight a special matching program to where we've got a donor that is willing to match up to $10,000 towards the proceeds that are raised tonight. So I just want you to know a gift of any amount that you choose to give, if you choose to give, is going to be doubled for us. And so that's going to go a long way in helping our kids achieve some success. Every year when we approach this banquet, I begin to really think about what Kinwell means and why this is such a unique place. And I was recently listening to a podcast that our organization puts on. So I'm not sure if you know this, Kinwell has a podcast. It's called The Culture of Kinship. A little side note, shameless plug for that. If you have not listened to it, dive into that. I'm not sure who all here likes to listen to the podcast, but it's incredible. They're going to take you on a ride of different emotions. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to think. You're also going to walk away just realizing how much wisdom there is in that staff. We don't really realize the kind of conversations they have to have, the kind of situations they're put in within the school. And so for them to just sit there and contemplate with you while you're listening about all the things they're thinking about, it's pretty impressive. So try to check out that podcast. It's a unique thing. But while I was listening to it, they had an episode, and it really made me think, what does it mean to be seen? I think we're in an age today where we're all visible. You know, if you think of social media, everyone's visible. But I'm not talking about being viewed. I'm not talking about being subscribed to. I'm not talking about how many likes you have. But truly, what does it mean to be seen? There's a separate story that back in 2016 on a crowded rail car in Vancouver, a large middle-aged man walked on dressed in black leather and became immediately agitated and started throwing a fit on this rail car, threatening people, and everyone kind of just moves to the corners to hide from him. And sitting next to him was a 70-year-old lady named Gloria. Gloria simply reaches out her hand, holds on to his, and immediately his demeanor changes to the point where he kneels next to her and just starts to weep. Not much was even said. There happened to be a 26-year-old lady who took a picture of it, and I'm not sure if you guys have seen it before. It went viral. And the newspaper came back later and interviewed her and was asking all about the situation, why she did what she did. And her response was this: sometimes all a person needs is to feel seen. It takes me back to that podcast. The staff was having a conversation around two students they had recently brought in from the outside school, and the reputation these kids brought with them was they were extremely difficult. They had major discipline issues, major checkered past to say the least. But as you're listening to the staff talk, their language was different. Their language was, we admire these students. We love these students, to the point where these students have had a major influence on our culture at Kinwell this year. So it made me wonder what changed. And I have no doubt that our staff truly believes sometimes all a person needs is to feel seen. And so I just want to take a minute, because it's this important, to really recognize our staff. These are the people who are seeing students and kind of living life with them right now. So I want to have you stand up. I'm not going to embarrass you, but we're got Savannah Fry and Sydney Henson. Are you in the room? Stand up. No, you got to stand up. Great. Yes, absolutely. We had, last year, Christy Burke was on our staff. They moved to Fort Wayne. We knew we had a big gap to fill. And Savannah and Sydney both came in as part-time, and they have done an incredible job, and their values felt right away. Amanda Adams. Amanda? She's not, volleyball. Yep, she's a coach as well. Tyler Dresbach. Tyler Newton, well, he's chasing kids. There he is. And obviously Roger Yantz. He's our director. Our staff are amazing. We are blessed to have them. I just want you guys to know, I know you're leading a classroom, but you're also leading a community. We thank you for it. So appreciate all you guys do. Roger, come on up. Continue the program.
Thank you, Ryan. Really appreciate it. One of the unique things of our school is the partnership that we have with Marion High School. And we know that these students aren't at our school because Marion High School has failed or missed the mark in some way. Marion High School is obviously a giant ship that is chasing a lot of kids around, and we want to be a service to them and help them out where we can. So we're very proud of Marion High School and what they do for our community and what they do for our students. And it's been a tremendous partnership over the last 6-7 years of working together with students to problem solve and figure out what can we do to make sure every student gets a great chance at a diploma. The easy thing for public schools is to take these students and dismiss them. And what Marion High School is saying, no, we're going to double down on these students. We're going to invest. There's a financial piece that they contribute, plus they contribute all their help with guidance counselors and special education, and even teachers get involved. And so they're doubling down on these students where most other communities are saying, no, let's just get rid of them. And so one of the people from the school that we work with is Miss Kelly Myers, and Kelly, you can come on up. She's a guidance counselor at Marion High School, and there's a team of 4 guidance counselors, and Brandon Vermillion's here as well, representing them, and they are just tremendous. They're the people I work with most through the high school. We're kind of constant in communication, and I've just blown away about the love that they can have for such a large group of people. It's fun for us because we've got like 2 students for every teacher, right? That's really easy to manage. And they have, I couldn't even count, hundreds per guidance counselor, and they know each one, they know each story. So I'm really excited for you to hear from Ms. Myers and how she serves over there. So I've had it go.
Thank you, Roger. Can you guys hear me? I'm a little bit shorter than Roger here. About 250 students is how much we have on a caseload, so I will tell you that. Is that okay? So as Roger said, my name is Kelly Myers. My students call me Mrs. Myers. I've worked at Marion High School this is my 4th year. I see several colleagues in the room. Before that, I spent about a decade in higher ed, including several years at Indiana Wesleyan. My career started in residence life, where we echoed a lot of the themes that you've already heard tonight about kinship and community and relationship together. And it has been a really sweet journey as I have transitioned from time in higher education into K through 12 public education. I'm a 3rd generation now public school employee. My mom taught public ed 1st grade for 35 years. My grandma taught for 40 years before that. And so education is something that I am incredibly passionate about and I love to learn. And I love helping other people learn as well, and I want it to be a fun experience. But one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is I want you to picture maybe the hardest day you've ever had in your life. Think about maybe the most challenging situation you've ever been in. So maybe that's the death of someone you really love. Maybe that is the loss of a job, an unexpected medical issue that you've had to deal with. Now picture dealing with that at the age of 14, 15, 16. Picture in the midst of that, maybe you are moving a lot. Maybe your things haven't even been unpacked from the last place you've lived. Maybe you actually aren't even living with your parents at that moment. And then picture at that time, someone is asking you to solve an algebra problem, or someone is trying to get you to memorize something when it comes to US history. This is sometimes the situation that our students are facing. And this isn't true for just Marion High School students. We all know this. There are students across Grant County and students across the United States who are dealing with some very challenging circumstances that myself and many of us in this room could never fathom happening in our lives. Maybe it also is a mental health disorder. Maybe it is dealing with an incarcerated parent. And in the midst of all of this, life has to keep going. You are expected to get on a bus in the morning. You are expected to show up to class on time. You are expected to get from class to class to class with no issues and no arguing, and be polite and get all your work done. And when you are in the midst of some really difficult things, spoiler alert, that's not what you want to do. That is not easy. That is not fun. It's actually incredibly challenging. And I really appreciate what Roger said tonight, and that a lot of times when students are facing really challenging circumstances and graduation rates are on the line and classroom management is on the line, it can be very easy for schools to say, why can't this kid just get it together? Why is this so hard? Why can't this just why can't this just be easy? Like maybe when I was in school or when my son or daughter was in school. And what I love is that Kinwell says, much like what Ryan shared tonight, we don't just acknowledge you, we actually see you in what is difficult and what is challenging. And we want to provide a way for you to not just get through the day, but to be successful. And to not just survive in high school, but thrive. And that is what I get to see from my students at Kinwell, that transition to Kinwell. Through this really unique partnership, I get to continue being in relationship with students. So at Marion High School, we rotate with our students. So I currently serve all of the senior class at Marion High School, and I've been with them since they were freshmen. And so I have been able to see, so I've had students that pretty early on we were able to identify a traditional public education is not going to be a successful fit for them. And so they came to Kinwell pretty early. And then I have students who, it's their senior year, and we have tried multiple interventions with students. And then I'm calling Roger, and I'm like, I think I've got a really good fit. And I really believe in your team, and I believe what you're doing, and I think this is how we're gonna get this student across the finish line. And when I say across the finish line, we know that graduating from high school is important. Statistically, people who graduate from high school have better not just economic outcomes. We know this, right? If you don't have a high school diploma, you are not going to be matching the same earning income as students who are graduating from high school. But also you have better health outcomes. You have lower rates of chronic illness if you are a high school graduate. High school dropouts are 3.5 times more likely than high school graduates to be incarcerated at some point. I served as a volunteer chaplain at the Grant County Jail for several years, and I constantly would meet with female inmates when I would go in who would just be so frustrated with their previous selves for not finishing things, not finishing high school, not following through with that job, not following through with treatment plans when it comes to substance abuse or other things. And so we know, these are statistically true. We know that high school students that don't finish are 3.5 times more likely to be incarcerated. And so oftentimes when we hear those stories and we know that students aren't finishing high school, they are dropping out, what we miss is that middle piece of what has led to that student dropping out, which are really hard circumstances. When I have a student, so part of what is required by the Indiana Department of Education is if a student wants to drop out from high school, it is a required meeting that they have to have with a principal and a school counselor administrators where we talk about these statistics. We talk about, do you know what's going to happen if you graduate from high school? Or if you don't graduate from high school, excuse me. And the answer is usually yes, but when the road in front of them looks so impossible, they feel like they are faced with an impossible choice. And so what I love about Kinwell is it enables those students who are at this really difficult impasse a way to rewrite and change their story that they have written for themselves or that other people have written for them that is no fault to their own. They have a chance to write themselves a new story of opportunity, of hope, of opportunities where they can be successful. They can not just have a job, but have a job that they love. I talk about that with my students all the time. I'm like, I don't want you to just have a job. I want you to have a job that you love going to. I want you to have a job that you wake up in the morning, you're excited about. We all, I'm sure every adult in this room has had a job or is in a job now where occasionally you go to work and you're like, man, I just got to get through this day, right? That's okay. I don't want that to be every day for my students. And sometimes the story that, again, they've told themselves is that's the expectation. I'm just going to get through this day. I'm just going to the bare minimum. If I don't graduate, I don't graduate, because that's the story they've felt their whole lives. And so Kinwell really does give opportunities for my students, for students in Marion High School, for students in other schools, an opportunity to say, I know that things have been incredibly difficult for you. I see you. But we have a way forward. So I think the smaller class size is incredibly beneficial for our students. I often hear when I'm talking with my students that they get the one-on-one support, that regardless of what public school you're in, you're not gonna have that kind of a class size ratio that these students just desperately need, that kind of one-on-one support when it comes to reading and math and other supports. The trips that students go on, I hear constantly that those are so life-giving and beneficial for students. And so I can't understate the impact that I have seen for the students in my caseload, for the students that I engage with, who if it weren't for Kinwell, I do not believe would have finished high school. And I've been able to see that, and I see that now as I'm working with seniors. And instead, we're talking about, ordering caps and gowns. We have cap and gown orders coming up in October. So or at the end of this month, it's October already. At the end of this month, we're going to talk about ordering cap and gown. We're going to talk about graduation. We're talking about jobs. I mean, I talk with Kinwell students about applying for colleges. I mean, these are conversations that these students would not have dreamed about having 3 or 4 years ago, right? But because of Kinwell and this safe place where students can rewrite and author themselves a new story, that is possible. And so I just thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm just so proud of our students. I'm excited for you to hear from some students tonight. They have really overcome some really challenging circumstances, and they have chosen to not give up, and they've chosen to make a way forward. And again, I'm really grateful that Kinwell has been a place where adults have been able to see them and come alongside them and tell them that they believe in them. So thank you, Roger.
Isn't she incredible? You can see why I call her or email her once a week just to make sure I'm on the right page there. Anea, you coming? Well, I'm excited for you to meet some of our students. Normally, I have to beg students to get up here and do this. And this time we had a domino effect. So I'm extremely excited for you to meet some of these students. We have a mix of seniors and juniors, right? Yes. And so all these girls here have just been extremely influential in my life. And it's been fun getting to know them. So I'm glad you're going to get to know them for just a few minutes here. And then when we're done with this, I'm going to send students to your tables where you can interview and ask more questions and get to know them even at a deeper level. So who's going first? Rihanna, you going first?
I guess so.
All right, hold that microphone up. There you go. First question for you guys. We've talked a lot about the relationship with students and teachers, and I feel like that's a little bit different at Kinwell. How have those relationships been beneficial for you?
I feel like they've been beneficial for me by every time I needed help, there was always more than one teacher right in my corner. Like, I never had to sit there and struggle, make my head hurt, feel like I'm doing something wrong because they were always right there.
Our relationship with teachers have benefited me because I feel like no matter what the situation is, I have someone who can help me in some kind of way.
The relationships at Kinwell benefit me because, whatever I go through outside of Kinwell, every morning when I wake up, I'm excited to go to a building where I feel safe and secure and heard.
I think you guys have helped me grow a lot, and I was kind of in a spot where I didn't know what to do anymore, and you guys kind of uplifted me and talked to me through it, and I did better.
Sorry, guys. I can agree with everybody else. There's always someone that's going to be there for you no matter what the situation is, inside of school or outside of school, and they make you feel loved, so just love them.
And go ahead and keep that microphone, Anea.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes. Anea is one of our seniors, and she's been with us since she was a freshman. So it's always exciting when we get 4 years with a student because we feel like there's a lot of expectation for growth, but we go through a lot of life. There's a lot of transformation that happens from 14 to 18 years old. Those of you who are parents definitely know that. And Anea is someone that we feel like we've kind of grown up with her. And so you've kind of formed some special relationships with teachers. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I can say Chrissy and Amanda and Dress too. They're always there for me. They always want to hear what I gotta say. Roger too, but he be busy, so he be having stuff to do. But he's always there when I need him to. Everybody's just always made me feel loved. My sister came to this school with me too, but she doesn't no more, and they always make me know that she's proud of me and we're in this together. They're always there.
And
Yeah.
school hasn't always been your favorite thing. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But you've set yourself up where you're on pace to graduate, could even finish early, right, if things go as planned. What has been something that's kind of helped you get through the difficult times of the academic side of Kinwell?
Really, I can say Amanda. She's great. She's always just has a smile on her face. She wants to hear what you got to say and gives you the best advice that she can for you. And that advice be good advice. I know I'll be needing it. Dres is so great. Oh, we're doing so good in math. And like Roger said, I didn't like doing my work and stuff. I was scared that I wasn't gonna be able to do my math and get it done, and I wasn't gonna be able to graduate, but Dres definitely were making it work, and I'm gonna graduate, so I'm happy. Yeah.
That's great. We take 40 students, that's the most we'll take. We usually hover around 30 students, and usually about 29 of those 30 hate math. And so I know we got some math teachers in the house. Mr. Porter, I'm trying to get him to retire and come over to Kinwell. Dr. Hunt's not here to stop me from giving that pitch, so. All the math help we can get. Jackson over here comes over and helps out with math, and it's just an all hands on deck for math. And so Dres over here, our teacher, is just like a chicken with his head cut off, just helping with math, and I'm thankful that he pretends like he likes it for me, so it helps out the students quite a bit. Good job, Anea, thank you. Nevaeh, I got a question for you. Nevaeh recently went on a leadership retreat with us. We've realized that culture is probably the most important thing we can focus on at Kinwell. We want to do school really well, want to make sure our kids are getting the grades, but we've noticed that culture is kind of the thing that pushes all of that forward. And so for a while, our staff was constantly working on culture and trying to build a good culture, and just kind of dawned on us a couple years ago that it's really the students who create the culture. I can have all the rules, discipline, do whatever I need to do, but it's really the students who create that culture. And so these last couple of years, we've taken some students on a leadership retreat. Ones that we've seen have a positive influence on culture. And Nevaeh was on that trip this year. And so how would you describe the culture of Kinwell to people who ask?
I think it's really good, and I was really scared when I came here, and I was kind of closed off. And then my friends, they were really nice to me, made me feel safe, and the teachers were really nice, and I just kind of opened up, and everyone was really good to me.
That's great. And Nevaeh is a junior that we are just putting as many parachutes on her as possible because she could graduate as a junior, and we're really trying to keep her until she's a senior. So she is flying through credits and doing well. So me and Mr. Vermillion over here are just putting more work on our plate to see what she can do. So good job, Nevaeh. Thank you. Karis, I want to talk to you a little bit about discipline because obviously with our clientele, we're getting students who are sometimes facing expulsion, those kinds of things. Now, Karis wasn't ever facing expulsion, so I'm not talking about her. But there are some others in the room who are facing expulsion, and I'll let you figure that one out. So the way we discipline, it becomes extremely important. It's something that we really got to think and pray a lot about as a staff. So a lot of times an incident will happen, and we'll contact the parent and say, we don't know what we're going to do yet. Let us think and pray on this, and we'll come back and figure out a plan. One thing we always want to do, make sure, is that our discipline is restorative. A lot of times it's easier to kind of get them out of our hair and say, all right, you're out for 2 weeks, we're done with you. But we want to do whatever we can to be restorative and make sure this is something that is beneficial. So there's not like a protocol. There's not like, if this happens, this is what we do. We treat each incident individually, and sometimes it might not make sense to anyone else, but it makes sense to us, and so it's what we go with. But we feel like that's kind of what the Spirit is leading us in. So, Karis, I wanted to talk to you a little about what's your perception and how have you experienced discipline at Kinwell?
So how I experience discipline at Kinwell is, don't get me wrong, I do have my wrongs sometimes. But it's not just, they do not focus on what that wrong was. They dive deeper in where that could have came from, what's going on mentally or at home, so that not only they could try to fix what happened, but to help, to move on from that. So actually, Roger has asked my grandma to come talk to me one-on-one so that we could dive deeper in some of the issues I've had, and that touched me because I've never had something like that, and it just shows that they really care. And that's what I like about the discipline. It's not, oh, get out of here for 2 weeks because you did something wrong. It's, why did you, I still get the discipline, but it's why did you make this action and what can we do to help you mentally and physically, so.
Yeah, that's great. And there's a lot of times a student will really frustrate me, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to meet with them. And I go into the meeting, and I come out, and the teacher or someone is asking, like, all right, what'd you do? I was like, nothing. They're going to be here tomorrow. It was incredible. And so if we could have a good conversation, I mean, that fixes a lot of things. And so a lot of our students have really grown in their ability to kind of share what they're feeling, share what they're thinking, how they're perceiving things. And a lot of times it's eye-opening for me. And those conversations are something that's helping me grow as I kind of understand them more. A lot of times when we have problems, we want to get as far away. And I've noticed that as we get closer to the things that we call problems or annoyances, we get closer, we understand it more, and there's more grace for it. And that's been a really beneficial aspect of my job. So thank you, Karis, for those many conversations you and I have had.
Thank you.
Next is Naya. And Naya has become just an avid trip goer. She wants to go on every trip. She hates hiking, and we've talked her into 2 hiking trips. So that's been a big win for us. And last time she got rained on and did not yell at me while it was raining. So that was a huge win.
I was lost. I couldn't yell at you.
And Amanda has gotten a lot of praise tonight, but she is not great on the trail navigating it herself. And so her and her group got lost. We got them back, though. But explain why you like trips so much, and maybe some, like, what are some highlights from the trips that you've been on?
My favorite part about trips is just getting to hang out with everybody outside of like a professional atmosphere and just having like the opportunity to be ourselves with each other rather than working. My favorite trips that we've had are like the leadership retreat. I love those. They're so much fun. And we did laser tag one time. That was really fun. The hiking trips are fun as long as my legs don't hurt. And I just like, going out to eat after. That's really fun.
Bro, you never eat anything.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, the food's my favorite part, too. We could. Yeah, it's been great having Naya on all these trips. And what's nice is we get to hang out with the student. I don't have to force them to do math and all that stuff. We just get to hang out and have a good time and experience something together. And so it's been fun hanging out with all of them. And one of my favorites is ice skating. I grew up in Michigan playing hockey, and so I just know how to skate, and not many here do. And so we'll go to the Fort Wayne ice rink and play tag, and none of them can catch me, and I'm letting them run into boards, and it's kind of I get to beat them up without touching them, and so that's my favorite part. That's been fun. Next, Rihanna. Rihanna has been tons of fun. This is her junior year. She's our afternoon student. And she is also killing it in academics. She's someone that she shows up every day. Attendance is a huge part of our school. If students don't show up, they miss out on a lot of things. But you've been showing up and putting in your work. What's helped you become successful in academics?
My mom, she scares me. I'm not kidding. I was slacking in school, like I was falling asleep in class. They had a meeting with my mom and she never got a phone call again, literally. But what really scared me was failure. Like I realized I was failing myself. And it was like a reality check, like wake up, do your work, that's the easiest thing to do. So I just come to school, get my credits, sometimes participate in a trip, and then go home.
That's
it's not hard.
That's great. I'm going to ask you another question, but another thing that we found out is reading levels of our students is pretty low. The average reading level at Kinwell is about 4th grade, and so reading is really a struggle for a lot of students. And then with that is like writing ability and being able to fill out like an application and things like that. And so this year we really jumped into trying to help advance their reading levels and their writing levels. And so we have a class. Every student participates in our reading class, so they read a novel every quarter together. So our students are reading 4 books a year, and then twice a week they also write. And so we give them writing prompts, they journal. Sometimes we have them reflect on things, sometimes we have them ponder things and come up with solutions or whatever it might be. But Rihanna, how would you describe, I think you've thrived in both those classes. She's got beautiful penmanship. She writes in cursive. How rare is that now? We just love her cursive handwriting. So we always have her fill out the calendar that everyone sees because we just love looking at her handwriting. But Rihanna, how would you describe, or how has it impacted you, the reading and writing classes?
I like both of them because like I was a reader, but not to how I am now. We're reading chapter books and they actually have a lot of stories in them. Like a lot of things that you can personally relate to, so you know like you're not by yourself. And these books have been out for years, so you know it wasn't just made especially for you. So it's like everybody is going through the same thing you're going through and they got over it, so you could do the same too. And in our writing classes, they don't ask for much of us. They just tell us to literally write how we feel. So it's like if you can't speak it in the words, speak it in the paper.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and we're realizing that a lot of students like to handle conflict through writing, and so we even have like a chat option on our computers where students can chat with the teacher through typing instead of talking face-to-face, or sometimes we have them write down how they're feeling or fill out this form to describe how they're feeling if they're frustrated about something, and so that's helped us kind of process conflict a little bit better, so that's been a ton of fun. Before I let you guys go, is anybody else itching to say anything else? I want to cut anyone off.
You're quick to pass it, golly.
All good? Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for coming up. I really appreciate it. You guys can come. Great job.
So the program that we have here at Kinwell is a kickboxing program for women, the females in the high school, and I just kind of believe in a well-rounded fitness. I don't think that health is physical or mental only. I feel like it's all components. It produces confidence, it provides them a way to defend themselves, and it's overall just a great community of girls, and it builds that relationship.
What I love about this class, again, I'm going to keep saying it, has helped me raise my confidence so much. It shows me that I'm not weak and that I can do or be anything. I walked in and I thought, I was like, I can't punch or I can't kick, so how am I going to do that? But Nana showed me that no matter what, you can do anything you put your mind to. That's my favorite part about this class.
So a couple of years ago, we had this idea to bring Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu not only just to high school students, but in a very specific way through Kinwell Academy.
Jiu-Jitsu's helped me grow. It's helped me do more things I'm uncomfortable with, and just getting comfortable being uncomfortable, trying out new things.
We've found that there's been an incredible growth in just the emotional health of these young men as they enter every Monday and Wednesday to join each other on the mat, coming together as a cohesive group, learning these skills that don't just translate here on the mat or translate in any real life altercation, but they translate across the entire spectrum of their life. And some of the things that we found have been super beneficial that I didn't even expect is that there is a equalization when we all put on our uniforms and we all step on that mat. It doesn't seem like anyone is better than anyone else. And there's become a friendship and there's become a community that we didn't even expect that we're seeing off of the mat too. Things that are pulling these kids together as friends, not just training partners, not just classmates.
How it's helped me become better recently is, again, not feeling so violent. When you're always violent all the time and you're angry and that's your first reaction, nobody wants to be around you and it makes you look like a bad person. When you see that's not all about violence and there's other things there's other solutions to that, you don't present yourself as so angry anymore, and it helps people want to be around you, and not only better for everybody else, but better for yourself as well.
They're learning a lot of life skills. They're learning how to be confident young women. They're learning how to speak up for themselves. They're learning balance in their lives when it comes to physical, mental, and emotional health.
Josh and Nana, who you saw in that video there, the instructors, they come to us from Tiger Martial Arts Academy, and they've been, just kind of go with the pun, they've been awesome to have in the corner of these guys and girls. And that's one thing I've noticed, that as many connections that we can make with students to people out in the community, people who that when they're out, they recognize them. And so I know Josh has taken some students to the actual Tiger Martial Arts Academy with him and just introduced them to people. meeting people and making that connection helps lift them up a little bit, right? Helps pull them out of kind of the mess that they're in sometimes. Shows that there's human interaction, another human that believes in them. And that's been a super important part of what we do. And that's kind of the theme of tonight is connection. That's what we talk a lot about as our staff is how are we connecting with students? If there's one that's constantly acting up, who's connected with that student? Who's the teacher, the staff member that can have the most sway if we take them out to coffee or take them out to Wendy's or something like that? What's that connection look like? And that's what tonight is about as well, is getting our students connected with you guys. And so thank you for coming tonight and spending some time interviewing our students and getting to know them. I hope their name kind of sticks with you and their face sticks with you. And as you're praying, that they constantly come to your mind so you can be praying for them. And if you see them at Meijer or Walmart or something like that, make sure to wave at them and say, hey, you're at my table that night in October. And that would mean the world to them. So thank you for that. The other connection piece, and this is something that I've been really drawn is this connection to the vine. It's a story that comes from John chapter 15. John 15 talks about Jesus saying that I'm the vine, you're the branch. Remain in me, he says. And I love this image of a branch connecting to a vine and what produces from that. First, I've been doing this since 2012, and for about half of that career, I've been just trying to muscle my way into students kind of turning their life around. And I felt like the more time I could put in, as much thought and energy I can put into them, the better. And what happened with that is I kind of developed this savior complex where it was like my job to save these kids. And that I was getting burnt out quick. I was getting frustrated because every time they did something I didn't think they should do, I was irritated and I was grumpy. And it was about 2017 when I had this realization of grabbing onto the vine and letting God produce the fruit. My job was just to connect to the vine. I focus on that. That's what Jesus asked us to do. He'll take care of the fruit. And then when a student acts up or does something they're not supposed to do, that's not a reflection of me. My reflection is just, am I connected to the vine? I let God take care of how he's going to handle them. And that connection has been something that's been pivotal in my relationship with the students, with the staff, with the community, because I want to do what's right all the time. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of times I make decisions about students and it seems crazy. It seems out of this world, right? Or there's times a teacher has an idea and it's like, hey, if you think you're hearing God on this, let's go with it and see what happens. And it's led to some really beautiful things. And so if we focus on this connection with the vine, then we can see some pretty miraculous stuff. Because as you've heard from many people and you heard from Ms. Myers about kind of the stuff that these students go through, and there's a lot of issues. We know that Marion is a struggling community. There's a lot of poverty here. There's a lot of abuse in every form, right? And our students are going through a lot of stuff that we don't know. Even those of us who spend a lot of time with them, we know that there's more under the surface that we're not aware of. And it's been a beautiful blessing for me to get to know these students beyond the level. And as I'm connected to the vine, just focused on that, it's allowed me to have the grace and patience to get to know these students at a deeper level. As opposed to being frustrated with what's going out on the surface, instead I can be focused on what's going on inside. What's their soul look like? And if I can pay attention to their soul, I've realized that every single one of them are beautiful kids. Every one of them. I get asked a lot when I tell people what I do, oh, you get all the bad kids. And I like telling people, I've never had a bad kid. Haven't had one. I've had a lot of kids who've gone through a lot of crap. I've had a lot of hurt kids. Haven't had a bad one yet. And as I get to know these kids through that perspective, they do something to my soul. They do something to my relationship with Christ that pulls me in this deepness, this depth that I love, to where I can't picture doing anything else. Because these kids have become such an integral part of how I love Jesus, how I love my wife, how I love my boys, how I love my church, how I love my community. And so thank you for coming tonight to get to experience a little bit of that. I hope you leave here with a connection to a part of our community that you maybe otherwise would not have had. And there's a lot of ways to get connected at a deeper level. And so if you want to talk about that, let me know. I'd love to chat as much as you'd like to about kind of what we do at Kinwell and how we could partner. Most importantly, we need funds. And I love being able to say that Marion Community Schools covers so many of our bills and our salaries and things like that. So our donations don't go towards giving raises or anything like that. It's not towards our student or to our staff or anything. Every donation that's given, we want to give to our students' experience. We've talked a ton about trips. And there's an option on these cards here that's at the table. There should be a card for everybody. And if you want to fund a trip, our average trip costs about $500, and that pays for a trip that we go on. We try to go on a trip every other Friday. And it's everything like tomorrow we're doing a fall fest at a barn in Muncie where we're going to carve pumpkins and do that kind of thing. And so the average trip costs about $500. If you'd like to sponsor a trip, that would be a tremendous blessing to keep going with that culture that we have with trips. We have the retreats. We talked about the leadership retreat. You heard a little bit in the video about our Kentucky retreat. In Kentucky, we take students down to Red River Gorge for 4 days and hike with them and get to know them at such a deep level that's become impactful for both staff and student alike. So those trips are getting more and more expensive as Airbnbs are jacking up their prices and the groceries and everything else. And so $1,000 sponsors that. If you want to sponsor a student at an academic level, we get every student a Chromebook. They get a 3-ring binder. They get notes. They get a thick notebook that they can take their notes in. It's about $250 to sponsor a kid academically to allow them to continue with their academics at school. And if there's another donation you'd like to give, anything you want to give is much appreciated. There's credit card information if you want to give by credit card. If you want to do check or cash or anything like that, just put it all in that manila envelope that you have there, and then we'll collect those at the end of the night. And thank you so much for your support, for being here, for your donations. And just know that Kinwell is here to serve this community. We want to show these students what it's like to give back and show how a community thrives, because we want them to eventually become a thriving member of this society. And so thank you for being a part of their journey, and thank you for being a family member of Kinwell.